your new home for podcasts and original music.
The Zagnif One Radio Network.
Nick Saban does not play anybody less than he doesn't put anybody less on the field than his very best players.
Bama does what Bama do. Sorry, I heard a noise. My bad. Somebody just left it on. Left it on my step.
That Colorado defense is definitely underrated, but they ended up pulling it out late. They have one of the players to watch for, Isaiah Spiller.
Oh, it's better. It's better now. Trust me. Like back in the day, there was at least one murder. So I mean, it's better now.
You realize that you're not doing anything to press your case by getting me to go down there. No, man, come on down there. It was only one murder. Yeah, they're only averaging one murder a year.
And shout out to Florida. They're playing them this Saturday. Number 11 ranked Florida playing number 1 Alabama. So I think that's going to be a high scoring game. And
wow. Well played, Collin. Well played. I did not see that was coming. you get a double finger point, one for me and one for Sean. You know you get.
Here we go. Get your popcorn ready.
What's the big thing?
Hey, gang, what's going on? What it do? What it do? What it do, baby boo? Today is Friday, November 26, 2021. Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. And this is today's episode of This Week in SEC Football. I am Mr. Fingaz, the artist formerly known as the Mad Karaoke DJ. That guy right there, my brother from another, my Georgia homeboy, the man, Collin P. Collin, what's going on, man? What's going on?
Not much, man. Just hanging in there and trying to recover from all that good food eaten yesterday. And how about yourself, my man?
You would never lied about that, man. We went light this year. We didn't do turkey. We didn't do we didn't do cranberry. We didn't do greens. We just did ham. We just did a glazed ham. We did a green bean. I call it a broken down green bean casserole because it was all the ingredients without all the other stuff. We did. Apparently there's a difference between dressing and stuffing. And somebody told me I need to turn in my southern boy card because I didn't know the difference. But we had stuffing. That's what it is. We had stuffing. And mac and cheese. And I think and mashed potatoes. And that was it. And then Junior came by. He made brownies. What's going on, Nate? We got to send a shout out to Nate. Nate's going to come on every show and start out with Go Maryland. That's our guy, Nathan Snell. You can catch him on the Big Nate podcast, especially if you are up late. No disrespect to the brother. He just gets off work late, so he can't start his podcast till late. Very, very informative. You want to check him out also. You can catch him on YouTube. You can catch him on Facebook under the Big Nate podcast. Yeah, man. Yes, Thanksgiving was cool. I feel somewhat vindicated.
How so?
Well, your boy had to pay penance for Atlanta losing to Dallas and wear that Dallas shirt.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
So I'm not 100% certain on this, but my sources tell me, because everybody got sources. Nobody ever really knows. They just
anonymous sources. It don't matter if you got sources. Anonymous sources.
Yeah, it's like, and generally the source turns out to be some dude who works on the custodial staff that works like the overnight shift. He just ran across a scrap of paper that has snowflake on it. It's like, well, rumor has it it's gonna snow in Dallas. Like,
nice.
Yeah, but my sources tell me that that group that plays in that big stadium in Arlington, Texas, was not victorious yesterday.
No, my sources tell. Well, I don't know. My eyes told me that was. I didn't need sources. My eyes. I am the source. I did see that with my own eyes.
Oh, I saw.
Big twist.
Oh, I saw it too. I was just being facetious. Now, I I tried to be sympathetic to the missus, but she didn't show
Hey,
me.
was she sympathetic when we went down, man? Come on, be honest.
You see my face, right?
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I got you. Turnabout fair play. What they say, right?
All day, baby, all day. So, yeah. So they didn't win. The Lions once again managed to pull an Atlanta Falcons and snatch defeat
Man,
from the looming jaws of victory. I actually was rooting for the Lions, man.
so was
It's
I.
it's bad. You know how you have a bad franchise when everybody is rooting for you to win, not because they like you, but just because they don't want to see you be that team to
Yeah.
be the team to repeat the feat that you were the last team to repeat, which is run the table backwards almost, because they got a tie, so that
Almost.
was not a loss, but still to have
Right.
another winless season, which they're well on their way to doing.
Yeah. Well, at least
So,
Matt Stafford's not part of that. At least he finally got away from that. You know what I mean?
oh, thank
I'd hate to see anybody have that kind of season, but I mean, for God's sakes, man, he was due to get out of there. He's still a good quarterback, and he just was dealt a bad hand. I'm glad he's out of there and doing somewhat well for LA. So
thank you, Jesus. Shanananiah Shadabada Honda. He got
yeah,
out of Detroit. Although they're playing a little inconsistently out there in the
they
Golden
are.
State right now, so they're gonna have to figure out a way to work that out, because Arizona, Kyler Murray,
Yeah.
D Hop, those guys are looking awfully nasty out there. You can't just
Yeah, didn't AJ go with it too? AJ Green's out there now, right?
I believe so, yes. So
Yeah, I think he's out there.
you got the most talented team in the NFC West out there right now, and this would not be the time for McVay and company to have a complete meltdown.
Yeah, no doubt.
And of course the talk is, there go those Cowboys doing it again.
Yeah.
How many times have we seen over the last 20 years they go on this terrific run? They're like, oh, the Cowboys might do it all this year, and then somewhere between Halloween and Thanksgiving, something starts to happen.
For sure. Yep.
It's like Michael's special juice starts to wear off, and the Monstars are making the comeback.
Yeah. It's kind of like that football team everybody talk about with no name. They always go win that Super Bowl, but they look like they might do something, but they kind of taper off as well. So,
well, they are. Last I checked, they got 2 straight wins right now going into next week's game. Because remember, it's Washington Dallas this coming week, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right. It is. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
So
is it?
Yeah, and they have all the momentum. Washington is 2-1 in the last 3 weeks of football, and them boys are 1-2. No, in the last 3 weeks, yeah, they're 1-2, because they lost to Denver, and then they beat Atlanta, and then they lost again Thursday. So that's what that is.
Yeah.
So how about your Thanksgiving, bro?
I was good, man. I actually had to work. I mean, I worked yesterday, and I had to work today, and I got to work tomorrow. But I'll take that extra money. I'm working on holidays and stuff. But yeah, my boy, I had my boy for Thanksgiving, and like I said last episode, my parents are still here, so they went up to her sister's house over in still around the Ashburn area. Ended up going there after work, and we played some dominoes and had a good time playing dominoes. Me and Brady, took on the house. We ended up winning, but like I said, we made didn't have a traditional Thanksgiving. We had what's called rouladen, and basically it's a strip of beef and a pickle and mustard.
I was going to ask you, ain't that guy that W was trying to find, that lived in the cave with the dialysis machine?
Rouladen? No. It might be. I don't know. But anyway, it's good stuff. But anyway, it's basically a strip of beef, kind of like a flat iron steak, wrapped around a pickle and some mustard in there. It's good. Got a good gravy on it. Real good stuff. There's a lot of German food we had, so it's really good.
That sounds absolutely sinful, sir.
And I got to use my French's mustard,
Oh yeah.
Come on.
You mean the one that got dropped off at your house just out of, to get you?
I had to use it. Again, DoorDash.
Yeah, I hear you. They only have a certain shelf life. They really only have a
Exactly.
certain shelf life, so you got to make sure you use those bad boys.
But no, man, we had a great time. Everything's good to go. We had a good my son. As soon as I showed up, my son said, "Daddy, we got you a doggy bag," and I was like, "That's my boy. That's my boy." I wanted to smile. I gave him a big old hug. I said, "That's my boy. That's my boy. Doggy bag is a doggy bag."
Well, here's the thing about it though is that you had a small enough gathering where there was enough left to get you a doggy bag because if it was at like big mama in them house and you showed up late, you usually gonna have to pray that Big Mama did you a solid and set something to the side for you in the freezer, in the deep freezer in the garage, the one with the lock and the chain on it, so your cousins can't steal your plate.
Exactly. Yeah, I saw a video.
Yeah, baby.
I saw a video on Facebook just before we just went live here. This guy walking out of his mama's house with like all kind of aluminum pans and stuff. It's how everybody walks out Thanksgiving with a bunch of to-go plates. There ain't no lie to that.
Yeah, baby, go reach in Big Mama apron. It's hanging on the hook by the oven. Reach in the apron in the front pocket. Don't reach in the pocket on the right because that's the one where my cool filter longs is. Don't go in there. Reach in the other pocket where my keys is. Go in the garage. Go in the deep freezer. Go in there. Get your plates. Go in there.
That's when you got it. When you got a lock on that freezer. You got a lock on that freezer. People going in there.
Oh man, go ahead, put it in your trunk. It'll be thawed out by the time you get home. You just pop it right on in the microwave. Go ahead and Big Mama trying to take care of you. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am. I appreciate you.
That's exactly right.
Man. So there was yesterday, and then the day I woke up thinking I thought that all day today that today was Saturday, just because this is the first Black Friday I've taken off since I have not had Black Friday off since 2001. Because
really, did you have to take it off, or your company give it to you off, or did they give you off Thursday and Friday, or?
I was working in the hospital at that point, and so it basically was like a 9 to 5. Well, it wasn't, but we kept banker's hours, and so we got the 4-day weekend. But that was the last November I had off because I got out in May, the following May, and went full time doing the karaoke. And holiday weekends, as you know, for DJs are busy. So,
oh yeah, absolutely.
And then I left that.
I was banging.
Yeah. Then I left the post office. I left the karaoke, went to work for the post office, and we don't get that Friday off either. We get Thursday off and go right back to work. So This is my first Black Friday. Like the last 2 years, my wife was like, "Why don't you take Friday off?" I'm like, yeah, I took Black Friday off this year. Couldn't do it.
There you go.
Can't do it. Can't do it. Well, listen, before we go another further and get into the good, we want to go ahead and send a shout out to our show sponsor, as always, the good crew at DJG Enterprises, custom engraved laser tumblers, and GreekGans.com, where you can get all of the best of your SEC team gear, whether it's football, basketball, whatever you want, they got it for you. So go holler at them today. That is www.greekgans.com. Thank you so much for being a sponsor of This Week in SEC Football. Speaking of, we got gear. We have our own gear. We launched a whole line of shirts, and I think I neglected to pull that up on the screen. But you guys know what they look like. I've been posting them like crazy all over the Big Blue network that is undergoing a identity crisis, whether you want to call it Meta World Peace or you want to call it Facebook, whatever you want to call it. So hit the link down there today and go pick up some Zagnif gear. We're also doing This Week in SEC Football. We're giving away 2 T-shirts. We did the Bama Does the Bama Do T-shirts last week. This week we're doing the This Week in SEC Football T-shirts. And all you have to do is guess accurately who will win the Ohio State-Michigan game tomorrow, what the score will be, and be closest to the score without going over. If we have a bunch of multiple guesses, we will pull numbers from a hat, and 2 lucky people will go home with, well, they won't go home with it. We'll send it right to your front door.
You got to come get it.
Yeah. You got to come get it. Now I'm in Oklahoma. Good luck. Do you like Survivor? You only get $20 and $20
Naked
and a
and
quarter.
afraid. Naked and afraid.
$20 and a quarter tank of gas. Good luck.
Oh my God! You know how much a quarter tank of gas would be for them guys, man? Jesus Christ!
Right. So we're going to send that right to your door. Send your guesses here. The reason I say that is because we do not want to clog up the comment feed, and I know Collin doesn't want to do it, and I don't either. We're not writing down your guesses. So make sure you send those guesses to that address, and we'll pick two right out of the hat. So there you go. That's what's going on with
So
that.
I think it's the other guys that won the Bama Does with Bama Do shirt. They should be expecting there soon. Did you get those in the mail? Did we get those in the mail?
Yes, they are on their way. Ashley and Buster, I already let them know
Okay,
they
cool.
will be receiving them hopefully by tomorrow because they already shipped. We pulled the names on Sunday early afternoon.
Yeah.
Sent the order in right after we pulled the names. They shipped within less than 24 hours, and they shipped.
Oh wow. Okay.
They ship from Texas, so it doesn't. Texas. They're nearby a major post office hub, a postal hub. So anybody that lives near a major hub, like in the DC area, has a couple of major hubs. You should get your stuff pretty soon. We got a question here that Nate wants to ask, and we'll go ahead and address this now. We'll just jump right into it. I don't know if you guys caught it, but earlier this week, Nick Saban had the press conference, and his radio show, he basically laid into the entitled fans. He just to
As well he
paraphrase.
should.
Yeah. Just to paraphrase, he said, when I first came here, we were happy just to win a game. Now you guys are at the point where if we don't win a game by so many points, you're upset. And he said, you think you're upset? Nobody is more upset than those guys that are practicing every day trying to go out and win these games because they're not trying to win these games just for you. He said, you think they don't want to win these games for the heritage and yada, yada, yada. He said, nobody feels worse than those kids when they lose a game. And all of you entitled fans need to go take a seat. Now, this is, again, paraphrasing. This isn't a quote, but he basically lit into the entitled fans. The folks that were there were hooping and hollering like he was preaching a Sunday sermon. And to be
the thing that got me that I really enjoy. I mean, like I said, I don't hate Bama by any stretch of the imagination. I don't. I hope we could beat them at some point during my lifetime. But at the same point, what he said, I was actually happy to hear. And he laid it out just flat out and straight. And the point that I heard that I took most appreciation for was this is not professional football. This is college football. These are young kids, and they are trying to make it to the next level. This is not professional football. And that right there, I took I took that to heart, that people need to understand that as well. Fans that are just taking it too far,
Absolutely. And you're 100% correct. You basically touched on all the points that I had too. So, folks just need to sometimes just realize, listen, just because you feel a certain way about your favorite team, it is not incumbent upon them to win the way you would like. Oh, well, why didn't he throw it to so-and-so in the end zone? He was open. You still won the game. How come you're not giving the ball to Brian Robinson enough? It doesn't matter. You're still winning the game. Well, you guys could have won if you did X, Y, Z. Well, you're more than welcome to, when the position comes open, to fill out an application or at least send an interest letter letting them know you're interested, because those jobs are by invitation only. I know another team where there's a group of people that could, but we ain't gonna talk about that. Anyway, let the mailman eat. Anyway, did I say that out loud?
Let the mailman deliver his mail, bro.
Absolutely. This is the mailman's busiest time of the year. You really need to get out of his way and let him do what he does. Excuse me, did you have a package for us in the northwest end zone? It was supposed to be here like 2 minutes after the game started, and it's not here yet. Well, can I talk to the supervisor, see if he can come and pick it up, drop it off? Can I come by the office and can I come by Buttsmere Hall and pick it up?
Can I come by your house?
Right. Right. I thank you for that question, Nick. Thank you for bringing that into play. It was a great question. Yeah, absolutely. Nick Saban was right. Those folks that are fans of programs that have reached some semblance of elite status, it has gotten to the point, especially with college ball, that the fans expect X, Y and Z once you
When
have
they're
reached a
fans.
certain level. Yeah, and they're
I
just the
mean,
fans. And
they're
now I'm
just
not
a
saying
fan.
I understand without the fans spending the money on the tickets and the merchandise and the this and the that and the third and and coming to the games and selling out the stadiums, there would be no TV deals, there'd be no revenue for the schools, there'd
Yeah.
be the improvements to the school would have to strictly come from endowments, yeah, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I mean, I get it, but let these folks do what they do. Let coach, let the players play. If they don't do well, yes, you are entitled to have an opinion, but stop beating these
I
kids
mean,
up.
you gotta recognize and realize that these kids are only, 17, 18, 19, average graduating ages. I mean, juniors,
They,
they've now
they
leaving. So I mean,
range,
19,
yeah, most of
you
them
know,
range in age from, I mean, if you got a late birthday, maybe 18 when the season starts, to as high
yeah,
up as maybe
finally.
22, 23. If you got some guys that have been redshirted
Yeah,
or doing a grad year, taking a grad year of eligibility.
right.
I mean, they're kids. Let them play. Let them play. If they don't win, I could see if it was kind of a Squid Game setup where
Yeah,
if Bama lost, then somebody in your family would pass away, or you would lose your job, or you'd have to give up a pinky finger. Then yeah, now you have some sort of investment. Other than, I mean, the football is basically just there for you guys to be entertained. It's a sport. We
it's
love it.
entertainment.
I
Yeah,
know
you
some.
said it.
I know some folks are gonna say, "Oh, that's blasphemy. It's not entertainment. It's lifeblood." No, it's not.
No,
It's not. Nobody. I mean, there
it
were
may
there were
seem like it, but it's not, right? I mean, it may seem like it sometimes, but people are. I mean, you and I are both the biggest fans in the world. I mean, we're the biggest dog fans that I know. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of Bama fans that are, they live and die. They live and breathe Crimson, and I get it. But I mean, at the end of the day, it is a game. It is, and you're a fan. You have no, really nothing to do with it. These kids are actually playing for a chance to get it to the next level. You know what I mean?
right.
But it's
You know,
it's crazy. I
but
think you hit the nail on the head, though. I think, I mean, I was very. I mean, I shouldn't use the word impressed, but I mean, I was happy to hear him talk like that. Not like he hasn't done it before, but I mean, it
right.
is, and these so in certain words, kind of hit me a little bit differently.
Buy a ticket, go to your seat, sit down, enjoy the game. Thank you for coming out. Have a great time. Please make your way to the exits. Get home safely. We appreciate you. Roll Tide. Done. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Please scream
Exactly.
and yell as loud as possible to help encourage the team. Boom. Done.
Boom.
Like there was a whole thing a couple of years ago about was it last year they won the championship? Yeah, it was last year when the fans were actually leaving in the third quarter because the game was such a blowout.
Right.
Is that what people want? They want to be able to leave in the third quarter, go back out to the tailgate, have a few extra in the tailgate, get some free before they go party someplace else for the night and tie some more on. Is that what they're wanting?
Yeah.
I thought
I mean,
me, if I paid money for a ticket to be at a game, I'm watching all the way down till the clock
oh
strikes
yeah.
zero. I might hang
I
around
do.
and watch. I might watch what's going on afterwards, just to be like, oh, there's the reporter over there. Oh, look, there's Holly Rowe. That kind of thing.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
So,
I agree
well
totally.
said. Yeah, I don't give a whole ton of props to the Crimson Tide, but big ups to God. That sounds so old now. But big ups to Nick Saban for
Props.
coming out and saying exactly what was on his mind. We will see
Yes,
you
sir.
guys in 2 weeks on December 4th in Atlanta in the Mercedes
You got
Benz
it.
Dome. In the Mercedes Benz Dome. So where were we gonna go from here? I know exactly where we were gonna go from here. We were gonna talk about let's go ahead and jump on this too. We'll get the fluff out of the way. We'll get right into the meat and potatoes a little bit later on.
Yeah, we go.
The Lincoln Riley saga continues. 2 weeks ago, I believe it was, before the Baylor game. Every Wednesday, Lincoln Riley does a radio show from a remote location, like some restaurant or something. And he didn't make his radio show. Immediately, the speculation started bouncing around because we all knew the LSU job was open. We all knew that LSU was reaching out to people that they wanted potential candidates to take over the job after the departure of Ed Orgeron. And people were like, well, there's a flight strip down there and, we can get his logs or whatever. For some reason, they couldn't get his logs or whatever the heck happened. But now people are actually, he's gained how many followers on Twitter, Mr. Kiffin? I mean, I'm sorry, Mr. Lincoln Riley. Like he's got.
We got, there's Harold Perkins. I mean, he's, Walker Howard. I mean, he's the LSU commit. So, I mean, there's a couple, I'd say about five. There's five actually new followers of Lincoln Riley right now that actually have ties to the LSU program. So, there's a lot of speculation in that area.
Right. And, now people are actually logging. They're following the flight logs. The flights are leaving Oklahoma, going to Baton Rouge, and when they're coming back. There has been absolutely zero confirmation whatsoever. But everybody is, rumor broke earlier from an internet media source, a regular posting and relatively well-respected and established internet media platform tied to the LSU football program, that it's been confirmed that he's going to take this money and go head on over to LSU. Also, it's been speculated that an offer was made to him by Oklahoma, but they're not going to match. They're not going to be able to match what LSU has. And so now, everybody's all up in arms. Like, is he going to leave after what he's built? I don't know. What are your thoughts? Do you think that, if it were you, you're Lincoln Riley, you've won 6 Big 12 championships. You basically dominate the conference. You get the pick of the litter when it comes to in-state recruiting. You're excellent at recruiting. You're very good at quarterback coaching. What do you do in this scenario?
Well, I was going to have a question to you. So how long has he been with Oklahoma? I mean, I'm not really sure about that. How long has he been there? How many seasons? You said he had six. He's had 6 championships, right? Or I guess.
Yeah, I will look that up, but continue on with your question while I'm looking that up.
Going back to what I do, I don't know. It's all about, I guess. At the end of the day, it's money, right? And I hate to say it, but that's kind of where it's at. The bigger contract, that's where you go. Mm-hmm. But at the same point, he's still going to get. I don't know what his mentality is toward the joining of the SEC conference. He's still going to be he's going to go there. They were going to go there anyway, right? So Oklahoma was going to go. And so, this was just maybe, speed it up a year. He's going to be – it just depends. It depends on how – I really don't know. To give you a straight answer, I don't know what I would do if I had been put in that position. But, money would have a lot to do with it, I would think. But he's been there – how many years? Did you find out how many years he's been there?
Yeah, he's been there. He started he's been the head coach since 2017. He came on as offensive coordinator in 2015. He took over the head coaching position for Bob Stoops, another, legendary OU coach.
Absolutely.
Took over in 2017, and I got that wrong. He's been there for 6 years. He's won 3 Big 12 championships since he's been the head coach. He is on his way to winning this year. He came in second last year.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, but yeah, this is a guy that has everything laid out for him in Oklahoma already. The foundation has been laid.
That's a difficult decision. Like I said, if you had all that laid out, I have nothing to. I don't know.
Well, here is the thing. Here's the thing that people are saying is a kicker. He's been. I said kicker, and I'm thinking about Greg the Leg struggling to kick anything over 35 yards. But here's the flip side of that coin. You've been the head coach at this school. This is your 5th season. You've won 3 conference championships, and you can't get over the playoff hump. You can't get over the playoff hump. You can't get to the championship. It's got 0 championships to show for it. Now, patience and practice makes perfect, because nobody just becomes the head coach and immediately, it's rare, immediately turns around and gets a playoff berth. But they're saying that might be the big motivator for him to leave is the money. Number one, 10 years, $95 million will make him
I mean,
just
that would be,
a slightly higher paid coach than old St. Nick.
yeah.
And LSU, the last 3 head coaches at LSU have all won national championships.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a something to gravitate him toward there. I mean, but then again, it's kind of a toss up there. I mean, like, I'm not in that position, you're not either. So I mean, I wouldn't know what to do until I was forced in that position. But at the same point, it seems like you would want to be at the place where you're already, the groundwork, like you said, as you say, was laid out for you, and you are pretty much God at the at the university, and they do anything and everything for you. You would kind of want to continue that road until you get to that certain point. But do you think he thinks it'll be a shorter amount of time if he goes to LSU to get to that point where a playoff or a national championship? What do you think?
I don't know. I'll let me take a step back and start where you started. He took over a program from Bob Stoops. Essentially, what Bob Stoops did was Bob Stoops was dad. He was the oldest son. They used to work on the car together and all of that good stuff, like the old classic muscle car. He got the muscle car up. He got it running. He got it in pristine condition and handed Lincoln the keys and said, "Here you go, son. This is yours." And now he's contemplating whether he wants to sell that muscle car for something shiny that might appear to be shinier and sleeker. Now, as far as answering the question about the LSU, you've got a school where the last 3 head coaches have won national championships. You also have a school where he would be going over to LSU with knowledge of the SEC football program, the OU football program already. He would also be at the largest school in the state. So he would just about have a monopoly on recruiting. I mean, a name that big, Lincoln Riley going to LSU,
Sure.
plus the money. So for him, financially speaking and potentially coach speaking, I could see it. I could see him looking at it as a win-win. Do I see him leaving at the end of the season? I've been saying it for the last couple of weeks. It depends how the season pans out. If they don't win this Saturday, hell, there may be a chance he's not expecting them to win this Saturday.
Yeah.
And so here's my question back to you and throwing it back your way. How do you think those guys feel? Oklahoma's been, they've dealt with, I won't say locker room drama, but there's been a lot of spotlight on the locker room because of the quarterback switch up. There's also been spotlight on the team because of the defensive woes, so to speak. So how do you think those kids are feeling in the locker room right now? What do you think? What do you think the temperature gauge in the locker room?
But see, that's another question. I mean, like, it's another thing that I don't know if these coaches if they actually think about it. I mean, I would hope they did. I mean, like, if they have a soul, I would think they would think about these things. But then again, they think about themselves and their family and what have you. But I agree with you. I mean, like, what would you? I don't know. I mean, I would kind of feel a certain type of way, I guess, if our coach just up and took off, for the bigger money. But I don't know. I mean, would they understand that this, even though this is college football, it is a business. I mean, these you go where you go. But to your point, I mean, they could definitely feel, I mean,
abandoned.
A little bit kind of abandoned. Yeah, a good point. Yeah, I was trying to find the word, but absolutely, yeah, abandoned. Yep, that's a great word to use. They definitely
for me, and maybe I'm the weirdo, I think I would stay where I was.
Yeah.
And maybe,
I'm with you, man. I mean, that's comfortable. I mean, like you said, that the road is laid out for him. Why would you leave? Those extra little zeros, man. Is that more important? I don't know.
I'm sorry. I stand corrected. They do have 4 Big 12 championships. They've won every year. They just came in second in their division, or second. They finished the season second in the conference and then won first place. Anyway, I would stay where I am. I know how I'm not gonna put out all of my business, but I know how much I make a year, and I know if I was offered a job as a head football coach, making what Lincoln Riley currently makes,
Yeah.
And I
Well, that's
had
good. Go
the
ahead.
ability to win the conference championship every year and have the team in position to potentially move on and get a national championship. I would stay there. And Lincoln Riley's he's 38 years old. He's a
Yeah,
young
young.
buck.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
He was
And then,
5 years old when I graduated high school. He's a young guy. There will be other opportunities at
yeah.
other marquee programs. It's not like he's got to make the jump right now,
Yeah,
unless
but to your point though, it's like it's the money. I mean, like, these coaches are already making millions upon millions of dollars. I mean, like, what is an extra? I mean, do you really need that extra 20 mil, or that extra 10 mil? Do you actually really need it? Would you like to? I mean, wouldn't you want to take this program that you've been there for so long? These kids that look up to you, wouldn't you want to just finish the drill? Like, would you want to take it to the end and till you get there? You know what I mean? That would you on that? Absolutely. I feel like I would be the same way.
yeah. So that's the Lincoln Riley saga, and I don't know how. I don't know how that's going to pan out. And it couldn't have come. They couldn't have that controversy come in at a worse time than
Yeah.
for them to be stacked up against Oklahoma State this weekend. That's the big
Right.
game. Actually, we might as well go ahead and talk about the Big 12 since we're talking about Oklahoma. They're playing Oklahoma State 7:30 on ABC, and nothing is etched in stone yet. This again, the craziest NCAA D1 FBS. I'm sorry, FCS. What's it? FBS? FBS. The craziest FBS season ever. In that there's only one conference that's locked up and locked in. Two conference. Well, in the Power Five, one conference is locked in. On the Group of Five, we know that Cincinnati's playing Houston, regardless of what happens tonight. Although it looks like they're winning, but in the Big 12, right now is still, and we'll just go here. The Power Five conferences, who's in, who's out. This segment brought to you by the good folks at 1906tees.com. They specialize in gorgeous custom-made shirts. Mine is being worked on right now as we speak. We haven't finalized the design, but as soon as we do, as soon as I get a rough draft of a rough draft template of how it's going to look, the prototype, I'll be posting that. Or I might save it. I might just break it out for y'all when I get it. Anyway, go see the folks at 1906tees.com for your custom t-shirt gear today. So you got OU versus Oklahoma State. They're going up to Stillwater. They're going to pass right through here on their way up to Stillwater. 7:30 tomorrow Eastern time on ABC.
Did you see what I see?
What's that?
That Oak State is actually favored in this game.
I got the odds written down. I actually took the time to write that down. Oh, well, the odds have changed because when I wrote these notes yesterday, the Sooners were favored by 4 points.
I've got Oak State -5 or -4.5.
Okay.
And then so I just put it up just right there. That was like, oh.
And what we just talked about may be a determining factor because in a tumultuous program like that, and now there's like, the buzz has just been growing. You know what I mean? So they're saying, hey, maybe this might throw the kids off their game if he leaves. But it's really simple. Wow. The solution to this one's really simple. If OU wins, then they and Oklahoma State both will advance to the Big 12 championship. This is the one conference that does not have the Power 5 conference that doesn't have East, West, North, South divisions. It's just all the teams in one big pot, and the top two teams get in. If Oklahoma loses, then it defaults to Oklahoma State and Baylor. Yeah. Now, here's a question. If OU loses tomorrow, does Oklahoma State get in? What do you think?
I don't know.
Because
that would, I mean, I think, do they get in? I don't know if they get in.
Like, do they get in? Do they get into the playoffs? Because
that's what I mean.
The term. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What were we saying?
The term I've heard thrown around a lot is the sexy pick. Well, Oklahoma is definitely the sexy pick. I mean, for crying out loud, Baker Mayfield came from there, and he's doing all the TV commercials. And Kyler Murray is running roughshod over the NFC West. And Jalen Hurts is finally starting to find a little groove up there in the city of brotherly love. So you got these guys that came from this program, and
I'm just saying, if they're 7, they're current. Oak State is currently 7. Do you think they're going to jump up to the 4 spot, or where do you think they're going to go?
It depends on how. It depends on how everything else shakes out. Because remember, we have an Ohio State team at number 2 who has to play Michigan, who is ranked what 5,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, Michigan's at 5. So you got number 2 Ohio State playing number 5 Michigan, and if Harbaugh manages to pull off that upset, that's going to shake some things up. Cincinnati's not going to lose.
No.
And and then you also have number 1 Georgia playing number 4 Alabama. Georgia wins all the way out. That's another slot open. Now we're talking you get where I'm going with this? You see where I'm going with this? So that leaves the door open for, now granted, they would still have to leapfrog Notre Dame, who's not going to lose to Stanford.
No. But then again, that goes back to our conversation about Notre Dame being in the playoff picture, being an independent. I mean, like, it's going to end up being, I'm afraid, no disrespect to Notre Dame. Honestly, that's my second team. I like Notre Dame. But at the same point, that it would be another situation where it was like, what was it, 2 years ago, I guess it was, when, it was Clemson. Clemson played Notre Dame in the first round, and Alabama played, Ohio State, I guess it was. Well, I can't remember, 2 years ago. But whenever Clemson played, whoever played Notre Dame that year was going to beat the tar out of them.
And they did.
And they did. There was no doubt about it. But I'm saying that's opening it up like another thing to happen this year if it's going to happen this way.
That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing that bothers me about Notre Dame is they play. Okay, as an independent, and again, I always have to give this disclaimer, Donnie. I'm sorry. As an independent, Notre Dame can pick and choose who they want to play, and they regularly choose to not play. They make the choice. Like in all these other conferences, the conference schedule is pretty much set. Yeah. And then they pick out, okay, you're gonna play a soft opener here, and
it's the TV money too, right? It's got TV money, and they got a contract with, who is it? I guess it's CBS or somebody.
NBC. They have a deal with NBC.
ABC. Yeah, I can
remember
NBC.
They've got all this stuff going, but they regularly choose. Like, I don't see Notre Dame playing Bama every third year. I don't see Notre Dame playing Georgia. Like, this is only the third time. When we played a couple of years ago, it was only the third time we played. The third time we played,
like our first game,
and that included including the 1980 championship game, the 1980 Sugar Bowl. That was only the third time we played Notre Dame. You mean to tell me 40 years they never said, "Hey, let's schedule Florida State while they're still big. Let's schedule Florida while they're huge. Let's schedule Ohio State. Let's schedule some of these teams sitting around us: Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State." So, anyway, getting off the beaten path. Oklahoma State, I don't know. I think they can do it, but they're going to have to come over some. They would have to leapfrog Notre Dame. And that would mean that Notre Dame would actually have to look like some straight booty playing tomorrow, which is entirely possible.
Well,
because right now, the only thing that they have going for them is the only loss they have is to number 4 Cincinnati, or number 3. Is Cincinnati 3 or 4? Cincinnati's 4. The only loss they have is the number 4 Cincinnati, and that looks real good on the resume. But if they go out and play like some booty against Stanford and have to struggle to win, they could see themselves on the outside looking in. So that's where we are with the Big 12. Big 12.
Maybe they should play Samford instead of Stanford.
Oh God, dude, you know how?
I think Notre Dame's a little bit better than Florida. I'm just saying.
Right. That's basically. That's basically, and like I said, Michigan and OSU will settle it out. That problem will fix itself by tomorrow afternoon.
I think so.
That won't be a problem anymore. Bama
Right.
is playing Auburn as a 19.5-point favorite, but the defense is still considered suspect. And they could go down to Jordan Hare and walk away with a loss, whether Finley is looking shaky or not. If Harsin can cobble something together, and then if Baylor winds up winning the conference, here's the thing: if Baylor winds up winning the Big 12 conference, and the Big 12 is effectively eliminated from CFP contention, so that's where we are with the Big 12. Going to take a step back. I want to talk about the ACC. The ACC is out. They are not going to make the CFP this year. Their best two teams are Pitt, who is 6-1 in the Coastal, and Wake Forest, who's 6-1 in the Atlantic. They both have 2 losses. Clemson and North Carolina State are both 1 game behind Wake Forest in that Atlantic division with 2 conference losses. So the games to watch in the ACC this weekend: number 17 Pitt at Syracuse. That is at 7:30 tomorrow on the ACC network. Number 18 Wake Forest versus Boston College. That's at noon on the ESPN2 network. Pitt's favored by 13 in that Syracuse game. Wake Forest favored by 5. And then we have number 20 North Carolina State versus North Carolina, who is playing right now, right? Or just finishing up?
They're playing out now. They're in 11 minutes left in the second, and NC State is winning actually 14-3.
Okay, and they need that win. So they need that win to stay in. So Clemson is 6-2 in conference. North Carolina State is 5-2. We already talked about Wake Forest. So if Wake Forest wins tomorrow, it's a wrap. It's done. They're in. If Wake Forest loses and Clemson and North Carolina State win, so North Carolina State wins tonight, Clemson wins tomorrow, Wake Forest loses, North Carolina State gets in. If State and Wake Forest, if State loses tonight, which doesn't look like it's going to happen, and Wake Forest loses, Clemson gets in because they have the tiebreaker over Clemson, because that was their second loss of the season, because the first one was to Georgia. So right now it's looking like Clemson's going to be eliminated. Clemson's going to be eliminated, but Wake Forest will still have to lose. And I don't think Wake Forest is going to lose the Boston College, bro.
Clemson lost to NC State. Clemson lost to NC State.
That's what I said. Yeah, they have the tiebreaker.
You got it. Yeah, I'm sorry.
My bad. The big game to watch in all of this, of course, is Clemson versus Clemson at South Carolina. Clemson at South Carolina. And again, when we talked on Monday, I was like, "Holy hell, they're 8-3." I thought they were far worse than that. But the biggest thing with Clemson is they have given up 1,100 yards rushing.
Woo! Goodness gracious.
And 7 touchdowns. They're giving up 104 yards per game on the ground. And then they've allowed 9 touchdowns in the red zone. That's 4th in the country. They're ranked 14th in rush defense, ranked 94th in time of possession, which is a big thing in the ACC. They like to grind it out. There's no real big stats that stand out for Clemson. Because DJ's going to throw a pick whether you're winning by 3, whether you're winning by 20, or whether you're losing. He's going to throw a pick. I think he's got a pick in every game so far this season. He only has 2 touchdowns against non-conference teams, 2 passing touchdowns. That's it.
Only 2.
11 games, he's only thrown 2 touchdown passes against non-conference teams.
Wow.
And they're playing in South Carolina, so that they're going to be playing against the home crowd, a rowdy crowd who's going to be rooting like hell for the Gamecocks. His pass percentage completion rate is horrible. He hasn't been over 55% all season. Overall, he's 55.1%. I'm sorry, I lied. 0.1%.
Ooh.
It dropped from 56.3% in September. It is right now. This month has been 53.8%. He's
Right.
only 30% completion rate inside the 10-yard line. You know, that's one of the easiest ways to score. I think it's easier to throw a little screen pass or a dump pass
Oh yeah, a
from
little off
inside the
tackle.
10-yard line. Yeah,
Yeah.
a little something off tackle. Do a play action fake when half the line draws right, and the friggin'
Bootleg.
run a bootleg. Like he's just not making it happen.
Yeah.
Keys to win. South Carolina's got to protect the quarterback. They have to. He's been sacked 8 times in the last 4 games.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I mean, just how many hurries? I mean, he's been sacked 8 times. I can imagine how many hurries and he's had. Like how many picks does he have? That's.
I tell you how much I followed South Carolina this season. I didn't even realize until I started breaking down this game that Luke Doty had been hurt 2-3 weeks ago. Their starting quarterback got hurt, so Jason Brown's in playing now, and that might have something to do with the spark that they've had over the last 3-4 games. Clemson, it's simple. DJ Ukulele needs to play like he's really worth that money that he got in those NIL deals. Period.
Yeah.
You just got to have his best game. He's got to have his second best game of the season. And even a win does not guarantee that they get in. But he's got to have one of his top games of the season, because a win means they still could get in. Then they still got to play in a conference championship, and then they would still have a bowl game to play in. They're not going to get into the playoffs, but he's got to at least play some bomb-ass ball, because there's still the potential for 2 more games for them. And the biggest problem with Clemson is they're the games they've had some squeakers, man. Like they came in as a top 5 team. They beat 3-8 Georgia Tech, 14-8. They beat 6-5 Boston College. Boston College is surprisingly fair to Midland this year. They beat them 19-13, and they beat 5-6 Syracuse 17-14. Yeah. They beat 3 teams with a collective record of 14-19 by 15 points. That's it.
Yeah. Yep.
So they really got to get in and get it done. So what do you think?
And they were talking. I can't remember who I was looking at, but they have turned it around surprisingly. How they, aside from those 3 games we just talked about, those squeakers. But I mean, they've actually turned it around after we played them the first game of the season. Looked like they kind of took a downslide, and they kind of brought it back a little bit. Which was surprising. It was very, very. It was iffy if they could right the ship or not.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. He's got to get off his butt and do something. DJ does.
Yeah, he does. Absolutely.
If ever there was a time for him to prove that he was worthy of all the accolades they gave him all preseason coming into the season, this is the time, because at least he can end this year with some semblance of a success story.
Right. Yep. I agree.
Yeah. So that'll do it for the ACC. Like we said, the ACC is out. They're not going to get into the CFP, but there's still lots of drama around who gets into the conference championship. Next up, our good buddies out west in the Pac-12. Our good buddies out in the Pac-12. Let's see who is in that team, the Utah,
Did you say Utes?
Yeah, 2 Utes.
What is a Ute?
Yeah,
I love that. We can watch that all day long, bro.
oh yeah, absolutely. They've already clinched. That win against Oregon last week was huge, bro.
Absolutely huge. I enjoyed watching it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was huge, and it wasn't just the fact that it was an upset. It was the fact that Utah just came out and said, "I ain't scared of you." But to pull the Bernie Mac, I ain't scared of you, mother.
I ain't scared of you, mama.
So they came out and they whopped them, and now they're 8-3. and they're
And
waiting
they
on a
did
winner.
that today.
And
They did that today as well.
Oregon can still get into the playoffs, but now they have, a couple of losses, and the Oregon will play Oregon State tomorrow,
Yes, sir.
and
Yep.
that's who Utah will be facing up against. So, a proud moment out there in Mormon State football history that their team jumped up and beat Oregon in the face. So Oregon's going to have to go back and reconfigure the wardrobe combinations for next year, but maybe they'll try again next year. But those doggone.
Did you say Utes?
Yeah, 2 Utes.
What is a Ute?
Yeah,
I
so
love
we
that.
got Oregon versus Oregon State. That game is 3:30 ESPN, and Oregon is favored by 7. The Big 12 games to note, because we talked about them since we talked about Lincoln Riley. You got Oklahoma State at 7:30 on ABC. You got Baylor versus Texas Tech. That's at noon on Fox Sport 1. Baylor is it's favored by 14.
It's sponsored by 14.
Sponsored by this segment brought to you by. Next up, the Big Ten. The Big Ten, it is obvious that Ohio State is probably going to win this thing. Of course, they still got to get by the Wolverines this coming Saturday.
Yeah.
That game is at noon on Fox. Ohio State, an 8-point favorite. There's nothing we need to say that can rehash anything about OSU. They have just been taking lunch money all season long. They've been the bully. They have been, well, I don't want to call them the bully, but for lack of a better analogy, they've been the bully that's been quietly terrorizing people while the teacher's not looking and stealing lunch money all season long. And then you look around in the summer and be like, wow, how do you get so swole? Like you just weren't paying attention to the fact that they were just, destroying their enemies. Destroying their enemies and eating them to get more swole week to week. Yep. Michigan, Harbaugh has probably his toughest test ahead of him yet with Ohio State. Yeah. But the Big Ten for now is in. They have not been eliminated. What do we got? We got if Iowa wins, which they did, and Wisconsin loses, then Iowa goes to the conference championship. So right now, Iowa is hoping that Wisconsin loses. They're playing now too, aren't they? Or is that tomorrow?
That's tomorrow.
Okay.
There's only one game right now. That's NC State and North Carolina.
Yeah. So if Wisconsin loses tomorrow, then it'll be Ohio State and Iowa. If Wisconsin wins, they lock up.
Man, you're talking about if Wisconsin wins. I mean that's going to be another wrench. If you're talking about if Michigan wins and then if Wisconsin wins, I mean, man, what are you going to do? Like, what is going to happen there?
Yeah, actually, neither side is sewn up yet because Ohio State and Michigan still have to play. So, and Michigan only has the one loss against Michigan State, who lost this past weekend. So that Michigan State win is not going to, it's not impeding Michigan from getting into the conference championship. So if OSU wins, it locks up the East. If OSU loses, it lets Michigan in. If Wisconsin wins, they lock up the West. Now, if Wisconsin wins the conference championship, then the Big Ten is eliminated from college football playoff altogether because, Wisconsin has more than one loss. So the games of note, you got Iowa and Nebraska. That one is done, right?
Iowa won that. Iowa won.
Iowa. Iowa won that one. Then we've got Wisconsin, Minnesota tomorrow at 4 on Fox. Here's the funny part: Nebraska was a 1-point favorite.
Yeah, and it looked like they were going to do that. I mean, like honestly, the first half. I mean, like you had that. You posted, and I had to. I was still working, but I had to look at it, and they were doing pretty well until I mean, Nebraska came up and tied it up, and then I guess Iowa just scored. I don't know how they scored that last touchdown, but I know how that it ended. I guess Nebraska threw a pick, and Iowa they sold it up, but a minute left. So
yeah, we all know how that one ended. So Better luck next time. But I think you want to talk about a comeback story. Is there not a more worst to at least good enough to keep my job story this season than Scott Frost at Nebraska?
Yeah, no,
I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
that's not the same Nebraska that played Indiana earlier in the season and just wet the bed.
right.
That's not the same Nebraska team. That's it, I think. Yeah, because OSU and
Yeah.
Michigan is at noon. OSU's an 8-point favorite. Wisconsin's a 7-point favorite. So I don't see any of these teams losing their games, but so it looks
You know how
like
it goes.
it looks like it. Honestly, it looks like it's going to be Wisconsin OSU in the Big Ten championship, but everybody else that's still in contention, Iowa, is rooting against them. So we'll see. And then we mentioned
Right.
the Irish. The Irish have Stanford. That's at 8 p.m. on Fox tomorrow, and they're a 19-point
That could
favorite.
be. Yeah, what? How many? What's your favorite?
19 and a half.
Oh wow! I don't know. I think
Now,
I'd bet on
mind you, all of these numbers that I'm giving you, the point lines, these are from yesterday. I haven't checked the update from today.
Oh no, I mean if it's 19, it's going to be close to that. But I'm just saying I would be tempted to take Stanford all day long. I don't think Notre Dame's going to cover that. I don't believe it.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's been a crazy season. There's not a whole heck of a lot to. I mean, the craziest thing about this season is these are the last games of the season being played yesterday, today, tomorrow.
Yeah,
The regular season. After tomorrow, the regular season is finito.
right.
And as of right now, there are still Big 12, Pac-12, Big 12, Pac-12, Big 10, ACC, all yet to be determined who's going to play. There's only one of the Power 5 schools that has both contestants locked in. Dogs versus Bama at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Yep.
So moving forward, we'll talk about the SEC. The SEC is essentially they're in. If Alabama wins, it's a win against the number one team in the country. It's a quality enough win that I think that if they do not lose to Auburn tomorrow, if Auburn wins out, I think it's a quality enough win that they get into the CFP, even with the one loss, even with that one loss being to unranked Texas A&M, unless they look sloppy doing it. If they win and they look sloppy doing it, they might not get in. If they win like Auburn wins things, I don't know why I'm saying that because between you, me, and the fence post, we definitely neither one of us wants that to happen, nor Dog Nation.
Right.
But that's about it. So Georgia plays Georgia Tech tomorrow. No anticipation of Georgia Tech. Hell, even if Georgia Tech rises up, we see what happens when Atlanta rises up. As of late, but there's no anticipation of Georgia Tech getting the upset. The game of the SEC to watch tomorrow, Bama Auburn. They're going to Jordan Hare, like we said. It's at 3:30 on CBS. Now, Bama, right as of yesterday, was a 19.5-point favorite.
It went up to 20 and a half.
They're 20 and a half.
Yep.
They are a 20.5-point favorite. But, and the reason I say but is because not only is this a conference game, not only is this a divisional conference game, this is also an in-state rivalry game. The 2021 Iron Bowl, we know how things go. Lots of surprise endings. Lots of, oh my God, they beat the crap out of them from wire to wire, and we didn't see that coming. I don't see Auburn. I see Auburn has a better chance of winning on a freak last-second play than they do of coming out and laying the smacketh downeth. Yeah. On the old.
Yeah, I mean it goes anybody that plays Alabama, if you got to keep them within range. You got to keep them within at least 2 scores. 2 scores might be too much. I mean, I'm talking about us as well. That might be too much to come back for. You got to have a quarterback offense that can actually score, not at will, but score when scored upon. They score, you got to score. They score, you score. You got to have that, you got to have that kind of.
Well, that's what happened last week. You see
Yeah.
that? You see that?
Yeah.
Arkansas stayed on their backs.
And I said that for a reason. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
You see what funny? You see Funny Man's video.
Yeah.
He's like, "What do you hear?" It's like, "I'm the ghost of struggle when the ghost of struggle when future."
I'm just
Like,
because.
you're not
Yeah.
saying, "Oh man, we play Arkansas." You not wait. Are you telling me? Are you saying?
Yes.
Go ahead and warm your vocal cords up, pimp. Just get them ready. So
Exactly.
I
But yes,
do.
I mean, I'm happy. I'm interested to see what's going to happen in that game. I mean, like I said, maybe it might be over first half. You never know. You know, it might be. I don't know. We'll see if Auburn, comes out swinging the first half and gets up a little bit. But what's hit that button? What's that saying that I got that's copywritten?
Oh, your world famous saying. I mean, we have seen these guys come in and do a lot of amazing things, but somehow or another, to get you wrong one. Tennessee fan wanted to. He said, I heard you had leftovers. I need to drop you off another bottle.
Bama does what Bama do. There
we go. That's it
See?
right there.
Absolutely. A lot of truth to that.
So yeah. What are your keys to the game for Bama to win?
For Bama to win?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, I pointed out a couple just a moment ago, but for them to win, I mean, just don't lose sight of. I mean, don't get your eye off the prize. I mean, like honestly, just because you're Bama doesn't mean you're automatically going to win every game. And I think honestly, to go back to what we were talking about Saban, his press conference, his speech, I think that might be trouble for us, man. Because I mean, that might have motivated them to play the best game they ever played, this weekend, as well as next weekend. You know what I'm saying? That might be the push they needed if they were actually, down in the mouth and thinking a little bit differently and what have you. But I think that speech he made to the press, I mean, that was perfect. That's what they needed and that's what they got.
Yeah, that's you nailed that right on the head. That's where I was going to go with that myself. It's like I think that speech probably got those guys hyped. They want to go out
like
there.
The Kirby speech, but a little different, a little not so certain terms.
Right. And he probably gave the clean. He probably gave the clean version of the speech, like it was the Kirby Smart, the remix.
It's the parent of ours.
Yeah,
sticker all over that thing.
Right. So, for Auburn, TJ Finley has got to have, again, like TJ Finley's just got to ball out. Like, I know that he has, but TJ's got to ball out. Tank Bigsby has to show up. Bigsby needs to show up big like he did last week.
Yeah, I was going to mention as well. Yep.
If those two things don't happen, it's a wrap. It's a wrap for the game, right. I think. Because we know that neither team really plays any defense because, we've seen the amount of points that both teams have allowed. I mean, Bama let Arkansas score 37 points. We beat Arkansas by 37 points and kept them scoreless.
Zippy. Yes, sir.
So that's what's going on with that one right there. So I want to talk about one more game before I think this will do it here. I think this is our last segment here. We'll talk about one more game before we move on to shutting this thing down. But before we do, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we have a new sponsor. Envision Social Media. Empower, create, and sustain. They will help you if you have a vision for your social media platform. They will help you conceive it. They will help you roll it out. They will help you put it in place, and they will help you manage it. They will help you manage it once they get it in place. They are our new segment sponsor, sponsoring this week's segment. Thank you so much for being a part of the This Week in SEC Football podcast. For those of you that are just joining, we normally go through, a couple times and welcome you guys. Hey, how are you doing? I am Anthony. That guy right there, the brother from another, is my man Collin P, chilling in the DMV. So the Egg Bowl. If I told you that by the end of the season, if I told you in mid-August that Ole Miss was going to win 10 games, what would you have said? In one season, I had to make that specification.
I was going to say you were crazy. Absolutely lost your mind.
Well, yeah, for the first time in program history, Ole Miss has finished out the season with 10 wins under the direction of old Lane Kiffin, who
Mr.
at one
Kiffin,
point
yes, sir.
did he pull off his shirt at one point, or was that another coach?
I don't know. He probably did.
No, that was no.
He's a show in and of himself, man. I do like the guy. I mean, you can't help but like him. I mean, like he's definitely one of the. He's definitely a show.
Yeah, well, they definitely handled business yesterday evening, 31-21. Actually, the game was a lot closer than it looked. Ole Miss got out to a good jump.
Yeah.
Mississippi State started reeling them in. Will Rogers had another 300-yard game, 336 and a touchdown. Matt Corral did 283. I had to look it up. It was 283 was the final tally. 1 touchdown, 1 pickle, and 1 rushing touchdown.
And didn't you say he was like the rushing leader there for a minute of that game? And he had like 45 yards rushing.
He was the rushing leader for the entire team until the week he hurt his ankle.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
But he still finished the regular season 3rd on the rush list with 597 yards. He passed for 3,334 yards this season for a total of 3,931 yards and 31 touchdowns. 31 touchdowns because he had 20 passing and 11 rushing. So that's how he got to 31. But he scored. Tell you how integral a part he is to the team and why he should be a serious consideration for the Heisman. He accounted for 100% of the passing TDs, 33% of the rushing touchdowns, and 50% overall of the offense in general, just from him throwing the ball and running and tucking and running. That is absolutely nuts. You don't see
How many rushing yards did you say he had? How many rushing yards total he had?
For the whole season? 597.
Whew, that's a lot for a quarterback.
Yes, that is a lot for a quarterback. I mean, think about how long it took Cam to get to 1,000 in a season.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm saying for I guess a quote unquote, he was deemed somewhat of a pocket passer there earlier, right? And then he became a runner. Or was he always been a runner?
I don't remember him at Florida. I was not introduced to Cam Newton until he got to Auburn, and by then he definitely was running. He was running like Forrest Gump from that moment on. No matter where I went, I was running. You might not believe it, but I run like the wind blows. Anyway.
I just want to go home.
Yeah, right.
Go ahead.
I think I'm tired. I think I go home now.
I'm tired.
But what can be said about Matt Corral that hasn't already been said? Now, in fairness, there's 2 other guys ahead of him that I think one of the 2 of them will wind up winning the trophy. That being either C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young at Alabama. C.J. Stroud, obviously, at Ohio State. I don't see Matt winning that Heisman. I think he will be in the running. What year is he on the program? I think he's a junior.
I think he'll be there, but I don't think he'll win it. I'm voting for Jordan Davis. I'm sorry. The hell with all the others.
You say that like you got to vote. I'm saying if you got to vote,
I got a vote in my head.
Okay. I was just gonna say if you got a legitimate vote, then you need to let me know where you went to vote because I don't know. I
don't have that kind of clout, bro. You know
I've left the house twice today. I ain't seen no Heisman ballot boxes in my neighborhood.
Yeah, no, that's a vote in my head. I vote for him all day long. That boy, after he scored his touchdown last week, I loved it. He needed that. That was one thing he needed before he left the college. So
yes, that was. I was like, oh snap! They gave him the ball to score a touchdown. Okay,
again, they didn't make it the first time. They had to get to him one more game. He had to get it.
I see you, big baby. And then he ran in the video that I posted where he ran out, and that kid just seems to love Georgia, the program, the fans. He ran out. They made him they made him an honorary member of the Red Coat Band.
Absolutely.
Coat and all.
Dude, he's been He's been nothing but great on the field and nothing but great off the field. I mean, how can you not reward somebody like that? You know what I'm saying?
You can't, but let's be real. I think people were a little premature on the Heisman hype.
Yeah.
Not that I don't.
Do you think it was actually serious? Do you think it was actually really serious talk?
Oh,
I mean,
I guarantee you there were folks that were serious about it. You
really?
haven't seen
I'm not really serious.
you haven't seen some of the debates I had to delete as from my position
goodness.
in the perch as admin that I had to knock comments back because people were really going hard at each other because
Really?
you're a stupid Phil Flarn and yours and you Flarn to you too and like okay yeah no man it ain't that serious.
You too.
That's funny. It's really not that serious. He never was seriously in contention. I mean, there are oh God, the young man at Alabama.
Yeah. I mean, oh no, let's bring it back. I'm sorry, I wanted to touch on this. I'm glad I just remembered this. How about Bowers getting snubbed on that award? And he has the most. If you want to go by stats, he has the best stats than the other three people that were actually in the running. He has the best stats of all three of the ones that are in the running. How in the world do you overstep him? I don't get it.
You know, we live in a kinder, gentler world, and I guess they figured, well, he's got enough. We'll let somebody else that's not somebody that's not as fortunate. You know, we'll give them the awards. I really don't know. I mean, the stats didn't lie. The boy was electrifying to watch. No. He was the number one receiver on the squad. Speaking of
he's got more yards, he's got more touchdowns than the other three. No, I'm sorry. I said he's got more yards and more touchdowns and more catches than the rest of the three, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, that may be one stat that maybe I'm wrong.
I think he does. I think if I remember correctly, he did lead in all the stat categories. Speaking of receivers, how about the wide receiver one may be returning? I don't know. I don't think he's going to see any action this Saturday unless JT goes in because it doesn't.
You think that's a tandem? You think that's a tandem, JT and him?
If you look at the stats, he's got higher production when JT plays. Of course, that was of course he's been out for so long, right? Right. Well, you're also talking. Yeah, you're also talking Stetson. You're also talking the Stetson from last year versus the Stetson of this year. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't think he's going to trot him out just yet. I think if he's going to play, he needs to play where he can actually get out there and do some damage. I don't think he needs to be going
let's just be clear. Let's just be clear. He's been medically cleared to play. So let's just put it that way. From what I know, from what I'm seeing, I mean, that's what I think is true. I'm not positive. I'm not 100%. I'm 99.9% that he's medically cleared to play. Now, will he play? You know, you and I's best guess on that. I have no idea. But I'm hoping he does get a little what you call garbage time, or you and Sean call garbage time, just get in there and play a little bit, get a little, used to the game. Because I really think we're going to need to, I don't say need him, but we could definitely use him, on the, next weekend and possibly during the playoffs. So I'm hoping the best for him and actually him having some playing time, some good playing time, some productive playing time.
Yeah, absolutely. He is the preeminent receiver on the team that has the speed, that has the ability to create, as they call it, creating separation in space.
Bro, if we could add him to McConkey and Bowers, oh my God, that's gonna be.
I mean,
a godsend, bro.
You got your short yardage guy in Bauer. You got your mid-range guy, and then you got your two deep threats actually, because McConkey can run. Apparently, he's one of the fastest guys on the team.
Yes, sir. He can haul ass.
Yeah, so I think Georgia's gonna handle biz against Georgia Tech. I've said that already. And I think they're going to give Bama the whoop for. I think Kirby has. Well, I like to think of Kirby as the mad genius in the lab, doing the work, trying to get Frankenstein's monster to rise.
Well, to be quite honest, man, I hope he's been there long enough. He's face saving long enough. He's been under saving. I'm hoping he's finally got the formula to beat his, to beat Alabama. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping he's got that formula. I mean, it's been there long enough, and I think we do have it. The chemistry, no pun intended. Yeah. The chemistry that we have this year for the team, that we, have a good shot at doing it. I mean, I'm like you though, I'm never say it's over until I see that 0-0, 0-0 on that scoreboard.
All zeros on the scoreboard. That's all I'm concerned about. Well, good luck, dogs. Good luck to everyone playing this weekend, except Georgia Tech, because that's who we play against. No disrespect. Yeah, no disrespect intended, but we're trying to get that thing going. Before we get out of here, we need to mention again, we have the sweepstakes going on. We would love to see one of you win $100 or maybe even more by correctly predicting the score of the national championship game. We will not be opening up the email line for your guesses for the national championship game, but all you have to do, same rules. Once we find out who the two teams are, tell us who you think is going to win. Tell us what you think the score is going to be. One person wins $100. And how you can do that is go to patreon.com, Zagnif Productions, sign up for a $5 package, you get 5 guesses, sign up for a $15 package, you get 10 guesses, and sign up for a $50 package, you get 15 guesses. And that means you can flip-flop them any way you want to. They don't have to be for the same team. They don't have to be the same score. You can do whatever you want to with them. But that's how you enter that competition. Also, don't forget to go and pick up some really, really smooth Zagnif apparel gear. The link is, where is it? There it is. Right there. Hit the link there. Go pick up some Zagnif apparel link today. We appreciate you guys for tuning in.
Absolutely.
Final thoughts before we get off of here today. I think that this year, if for no other, has made a huge case for it. It's always been the league says, we got this covered, we got this covered, we got this covered. And then somehow or another, they managed to cobble together something to make it work. This is the first year where we have seen the ball of the ball of string that pops out on your pants completely unravel and leave you, backside out.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's time for the committee to really dig in and say, okay, we need a playoff and we need one now, because the playoff committee is just now. Here's the thing: the playoff committee has actually been as far as top 5, maybe top 10. They haven't been that far off the mark. Even the kooky decisions that they've made with who gets in and who doesn't. Like even right now, it doesn't make any sense to me. It didn't make any sense to me up until Saturday night. It didn't make any sense to me Saturday morning of last week that Michigan was ranked higher than Michigan State because Michigan State had the tiebreaker.
Well, then they had old boy go out there and clarify why they did that, right?
I think so, yeah.
Did it make any more sense to you the following day, or did it ever make any more sense to you after that?
I just want. I listen.
I knew I was just asking.
That's about the best I can give you. But that's my final thought for the day. I think that college football as a whole, at the D1 level, will definitely benefit from a tournament system of some kind.
Sure. Yeah. At least 8. If it's not 12, do it in a little bit in sections. I mean, if you want to do 8 first, all right, let's see how that works. Like I said, I always said before, you'll get these other teams that otherwise would not have even been looked at or won't even be like batted eye at the 14 playoff system. Your TCUs, I mean, even your Cincinnati's right now. Cincinnati's in jeopardy of not making playoff, and they are actually a decent team. But you know what I mean? And then you got just UCFs and all that kind of stuff. And they'll break all that out.
Oh, gotcha.
You know what I mean? But we're not paid. That's too high of our pay grade to be making these kind of decisions. So, I mean,
I got you. Well, ladies and gentlemen,
I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't look like I know I don't have anything else for the good of the crowd. What about you, sir?
I'm pretty good, my man. I enjoyed this episode.
Yeah. So I may ping you later tomorrow, since we got some more tomorrow night, just to throw some commentary up. But we'll hash that out once we get off the air. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for joining us today. On behalf of myself, Mr. Fingaz, my co-host, my brother from another, Collin, our sponsors, DJG Enterprises / GreekGans.com, 1906 Tees, and Creative Media. Whoops, I'm sorry. Brother, I have been fighting it all day. Envision Social Media. My apologies, Janika. Thank you very much. That is the CEO of Envision Social Media. I've been wiped out. But anyway, we thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to go by, log on Facebook. You can find us on the Zagnif One streaming page. You can listen to us on the Zagnif One Radio Network. You can find our YouTubes at Zagnif One / Zagnif Productions. Make sure you check out each and every one of those platforms. Don't forget to enter your guesses this weekend for a t-shirt in the Ohio State versus the Michigan matchup. Your chance to win another t-shirt. And even if we just have 2 people, that's who wins, because that's how we roll, because we like to be people of our word. We appreciate y'all. We will see you more than likely next week. You might see us this weekend, but more than likely next week. Y'all take care. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.